1,050,000, 1,100,000. 5 houses right here, maybe 2 houses right there, you feel me? I do not cap, this is really my lifestyle. This is how I really live.
I got him a deal, right, to play video games once a week for an hour. $2 million up front, just doesn't do it. He had no money at the time, and he needed money to buy Birkin bags for all these black chicks and give away money to make his girlfriend jealous. That's literally like the factual story. He told the company, I need $2 million up front so I can buy a content house. The guy's an idiot.
6ix9ine flaunts money, buys Birkin bags for his girlfriend, yet leaves his daughter Soraya in need, only providing $2,000 over 5 years. What a fake.
Those harsh criticisms weren't just passing social media, Japsy, were the voices of millions who once praised Daniel Hernandez, better known as 6ix9ine, the rainbow-haired rapper who once shook the hip-hop world to its core. At his peak, he shattered Instagram live records with over 2 million viewers, sent the internet into a frenzy as Gooba and trolls pulled in 45 million views in just 24 hours and transformed from a Brooklyn nobody into the self-proclaimed king of New York. He became a pop culture storm, living proof that an outsider could dominate the game, but that blinding rise quickly turned into a dark freefall. Love turned to hate, cheers became curses. Behind the hit records was a trail of scandals too big to ignore. He bragged about crimes and his lyrics faced convictions for sex offenses, brawled in public to feed his ego and flashed diamonds, cars, and stacks of cash only for insiders to claim it was all fake. Then came the breaking point snitching on 12 associates to cut a 47-year sentence down to just 2 overnight. He went from rebel icon to industry pariah, mocked online as a Karen, and branded a traitor from the defiant king of New York to a name forever tied to betrayal and disgrace. Was it the cost of treachery or pure arrogancy that destroyed? To understand his fall, we have to rewind from the moment dummy boy launched him to stardom to the day his empire collapsed beyond repair.
Does money dictate everything you do?
Yes, what the f?
You're not here for car selection?
No. I'm not gonna address nothing. I'm never gonna address nothing. Y'all believe what y'all wanna believe. That's a half a ticket right there.
Daniel Hernandez grew up in Bushwick, Brooklyn, a place where violence and poverty were part of everyday life. When his stepfather was murdered at just 13, his world shattered. He dropped out of school in 8th grade and took odd jobs just to help his family survive. By 2014, adopting the stage name 6ix9ine, drawing inspiration from Japanese anime and the number 69, he began carving his path into music. With rainbow-colored hair tattoos covering his body and an aggressive rap style, he quickly became a SoundCloud sensation. But everything changed in 2017 with the release of Gummo. It wasn't just a track, it was a declaration backed by a pounding beat, raw lyrics, and a music video swarming with gang members. Gummo shot up to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100 and racked up over 130 million YouTube views in just months. I want people to know I'm real, I live this life, 6ix9ine told DJ Academics, proudly flaunting his ties to the 9 Trey Gangster Bloods, one of New York's most feared factions. His style a mix of gangster bravado and shock factor. Theatrix was unlike anything the industry had seen. Imagery, vibrant colors, and a defiant attitude struck a chord with a generation craving bold, rule-breaking figures. The public's enthusiastic reception propelled 6ix9ine to new heights. His debut mixtape, Day 69, reached 4 on the Billboard 200 with tracks like Kuda and Kick solidifying his status. His album Dummy Boy, despite leaking before release, hit number 2 on the Billboard 200, driven by the hit Faye with Nicki Minaj, which peaked at number 3 on the Hot 100 and earned double platinum certification on Instagram. He amassed over 15 million followers at his peak, with each post sparking controversy and millions of interactions. I don't need to be right, I just need to be seen, 16 once said, a quote that encapsulated his philosophy. The chaos 6ix9ine brought didn't alienate fans, it captivated them. He built a loyal fan base that loved his audacity and defended him against all criticism. But few realized that the same wild persona and dangerous affiliations that made him famous were also the fuse for a cascade of legal disasters, thrusting the rising star into a whirlwind of condemnation and prison.
I got federal agents sitting in front of my house. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars. One thing I fear in life. No, 2 things. I fear God and I fear the FBI. Only 2 things I'm scared in life.
The cracks began to show in 2015 before Gummo even existed. At just 18, Daniel Hernandez was arrested over a video involving sexual content with a 13-year-old Girl, according to court records, the video was filmed at a Harlem party featuring the victim. In a pornographic context, though Hernandez didn't directly engage in the assault, his presence and actions in the video were enough to charge him with use of a child in a sexual performance. A felony in New York, the sentence wasn't light: 300 hours. Community service, 2 years of therapy, and a mandated apology letter to the victim's family. In New York, this is among the gravest offenses involving minors, and the punishment could have been harsher had Hernandez not taken a plea deal initially. The case didn't draw much public attention, but in 2017, as 6ix9ine exploded on social media with vibrant photos and bad boy music videos, the court documents resurfaced and spread rapidly. The truth from 2 years prior emerged at the height of his fame. He's a predator, one Reddit user wrote. Another on X was harsher: nothing excuses that behavior no matter how famous he gets. The contradiction was glaring in real life. He was convicted of a crime involving a minor online. He crafted a defiant street rapper persona. Hip-hop forums began questioning, was all this bravado and noise just a mask to hide an immoral character? In a bid to control the crisis, 6ix9ine appeared on DJ Academics' show, claiming the victim was about 14 and he was 17 at the time, but court records confirmed he was 18, a detail that made the public feel deceived. He also said he voluntarily wrote an apology letter out of remorse, but this was a mandatory condition of his plea deal instead of showing genuine remorse. 6ix9ine and quickly returned to provocative music videos and songs, seemingly believing a new scandal could overshadow the old one. He thinks fame and money can erase his past. A disappointed fan commented on Instagram. The backlash erupted into a cancel 6ix9ine in movement. Numerous hip-hop channels, music blogs, and rap fan pages called for a boycott. Outlets like Pitchfork, The Daily Beast, and Complex covered the case, analyzing its long-term impact on his career. Ironically, his Instagram followers and YouTube views kept rising, proof of the strange allure of his dangerous but captivating image. At 6ix9ine in and truly learned from this mistake, his story might have been different, but instead of stepping back to repair his image, he plunged into a series of new scandals, driving his career and reputation into an inescapable downward spiral. In reality, the 2015 scandal was just an early stain in 6ix9ine's record, interrupting his efforts to craft a glamorous gangster image where money, luxury cars, and extravagance were props to attract attention and mask his darker personal life. For those who followed him from the start, his brand was unmistakable: stacks of cash waved in front of the camera, a fleet of supercars lined up outside lavish parties, and glittering jewelry. 6ix9ine made flaunting a core part of his identity, turning every video into a stage to prove he was living the dream. But like a flashy backdrop in a cheap studio, it was all a facade. Beneath it lay emptiness and mounting debt. This truth was brutally exposed by Steve Will D, a former ally. Steve revealed he helped 6ix9ine secure a $2 million Rumble deal to livestream gaming, but 6ix9ine only showed for 4 sessions before bailing, claiming he was buying a content house. Steve called him underscore and a terrible person, listing his massive debts: $10 million in IRS taxes, $988 million in damages to a stripper named Alexis for throwing a bottle, $600,000 for an unpaid house, $60,000 to a contractor, $1 million from A, and $1 million from a lawsuit by an ex-girlfriend over a revenge video. 6ix9ine himself admitted, "I don't have money right now," revealing that the cash stacks in his flaunting videos were fake. He called himself an entertainment artist with an entertainment degree, a ridiculous and bitter excuse, as his entire image of wealth was a staged narrative. What outraged the public most was how he used what he had $69 borrowed money to buy Birkin bags for his girlfriend, and threw cash online to score points with the crowd, yet neglected his own children. Over 5 years, he provided just $2,000 for his daughter Sarah, about $400 a year, and never met his second daughter, Bella. Despite confirming paternity, Sarah Melina Saria's mother accused him he didn't buy Sarah Christmas gifts, leaving her in need. Marina Bella's mother affirmed she received only $20,000 after his prison release, with no further support. For many, especially mothers, this was blatant irresponsibility, a father who squandered money on meaningless displays while leaving his children lacking both materially and emotionally. The financial stains were just the surface. 6 then repeatedly faced legal trouble from a 2015 incident involving a Houston teen driving without a license obstructing police to allegations of inappropriate behavior with Sarah. Molina, he tested positive for stimulants, though he claimed it was just Adderall and violated probation in 2024, leading to 45 days in jail and the risk of a 1-year sentence when the IRS seized his car's jewelry and Florida home. He tried to salvage things by promoting dummy coin cryptocurrency and signing a $6 million record deal canceled due to his probation violation. One viewer commented, "These mistakes don't just leave a permanent stain. They expose his utterly fake and irresponsible nature. More troubling, this isn't the end." Each incident and scandal signals that 6ix9ine's has learned nothing from his downfall, and his next string of offenses will prove it most clearly. The mounting debts and flashy lifestyle are merely the surface of a deeper issue. The root lies in his attitude and disregard for norms and consequences, evident from how he behaved after escaping the 2015 sex crime conviction, as if to prove that past scandals taught him nothing right after dodging a major conviction. 6ix9ine dove into another reckless decision, a celebratory party that became one of his most infamous debacles. Instead of quietly retreating, he saw it as a victory and celebrated in his signature style, lavish, loud, and controversy. Laden with the 9-tray gangster bloods, he headed to Philippe Chow, a renowned New York restaurant, for a flashy party. But when staff refused service, the event spiraled into chaos. Shouting, echoed chairs flew, a security guard was injured, gunshots rang out, panicking diners and prompting a police raid. Several 9-tray members, including 6ix9ine's manager, were arrested on the spot. The Philippe Chow incident was just the tip of the iceberg. It exposed how 6ix9ine handled conflict, not by de-escalating but by pushing tensions to the extreme. Prior to this, Ninri was linked to armed robberies, street brawls, and reckless shootings. His direct ties to the gang stripped away his rebellious rapper image, revealing him as a cog in an organized crime network. When federally charged with racketeering, armed robbery, drug trafficking, and conspiracy to commit serious violence, he faced a minimum 47-year sentence, a near death for his career. Then November 2018 became a fateful turning point. 6ix9ine and 6ix9ine Trey members were arrested in a major FBI operation. Days later, he made a decision the rap community deemed an unforgivable sin, cooperating with prosecutors to snitch on his crew. In the September 2019 trial, he detailed 9tray's inner workings, admitted to funding violent acts, and revealed information implicating other rap figures, sending shockwaves through the industry. The rap community's response was unprecedented outrage. "He's a rat," Nick Mill declared bluntly. Social media erupted with condemnation. "There's no rule in rap 6ix9ine hasn't broken." In street culture, where loyalty is an unwritten law, his betrayal was a direct slap to the honor of everyone who believed in his lyrics. 6ix9ine defended himself. "They betrayed me first, I just wanted to live." But to the rap world, his excuses didn't erase the stain, a Vulture article noted. This betrayal obliterated everything he stood for, turning his street raps into a mockery of hypocrisy.
I don't give a if I'm held accountable for what I did. Yes, I snitched, and I did it proudly.
The consequences were irreversible. His sentence was reduced to 2 years and he was released early in April 2020 due to COVID-19 concerns. But the cost was a ruined reputation, banned from performing in many venues, targeted for attacks, and universally shunned. Instead of showing remorse, 6ix9ine doubled down, turning his betrayal into content to boast about. "I beat the system." Yet these efforts only made him seem more callous. Organizations like No Kid Hungary rejected his $200,000 donation, and the rap world nearly unanimously erased what he once represented. How can someone who bragged about loyalty betray his crew and then shamelessly monetize that betrayal? A viewer asked. His snitching not only destroyed his gangster image but made him a symbol of hypocrisy. But what drove him to trade loyalty for the facade of a living legend? Perhaps the ambition to become a living legend drove a 6ix9ine to self-destructive decisions. And now the price is a cascade of irreversible consequences. Legally, he faced 3 years of probation. 2017, was arrested in 2018. Secured a reduced sentence by snitching on 9-tray, but violated probation in 2024-2025, resulting in 45 days in detention and the risk of a 1-year sentence for testing positive. For stimulants, financially, he's burdened with over $20 million in debt, $10 million to the IRS, $98, $8 million to Alexis, $2 million to Rumble, $1 million from a robbery. $1 million from an ex-girlfriend's lawsuit, $600,000 for a house, $60,000 to a contractor plus legal fees. In 2025, the IRS seized and auctioned his house, cars, jewelry, grills, and platinum record memorabilia. His career is in tatters, Tattletale sold only 53,000 copies, Leyenda Viva and Blackballed flopped, and he's been ostracized by the music industry. No Kid Hungary rejected his $200,000 donation, and despite pivoting to the Latin market, he lost all traction in the US. The public mocked him with viral memes, branding him a traitor, and deadbeat dad scandals piled up from inappropriate behavior with Sarah Melina Yalin causing airport disturbances, faking his death for views to attacking fans, further tanking his image. Sarah Melina Marina and Ross Verd publicly criticized him for neglecting his children in a letter to the judge. Admitted, "I was reckless and foolish," a fan once wrote. 6ix9ine may have talent, but he betrayed his crew, abandoned his kids, and lived a fake life. He doesn't deserve forgiveness. Snitching on 9 tax evasion, neglecting Soraya and Briella, flaunting fake lifestyle cost him all respect in the hip-hop community. Talent. The consequences were irreversible. His sentence was reduced to 2 years and he was released early in April 2020 due to CO-19 concerns. But the cost was a ruined reputation, banned from performing in many venues, targeted for attacks, and universally shunned. Instead of showing remorse, 6ix9ine doubled down, turning his betrayal into content to boast about "I beat the system." Yet these efforts only made him seem more callous. Organizations like No Kid Hungary rejected his $200,000 donation, and the rap world nearly unanimously erased what he once represented. How can someone who bragged about loyalty betray his crew and then shamelessly monetize that betrayal? A viewer asked. His snitching not only destroyed his gangster image but made him a symbol of hypocrisy. But what drove him to trade loyalty for the facade of a living legend? Perhaps the ambition to become a living legend drove a 6ix9ine to self-destructive decisions. And now the price is a cascade of irreversible consequences. Legally, he faced 3 years of probation 2017, was arrested in 2018, secured a reduced sentence by snitching on 9 but violated probation in 2024-2025, resulting in 45 days in detention and the risk of a 1-year sentence for testing positive. For stimulants, financially, he's burdened with over $20 million in debt, $10 million to the IRS. $98, $8 million to Alexis, $2 million to Rumble, $1 million from a robbery, $1 million from an ex-girlfriend's lawsuit, $600,000 for a house, $60,000 to a contractor plus legal fees. In 2025, the IRS seized and auctioned his house, cars, jewelry, grills, and platinum record memorabilia. His career is in tatters, Tattletale sold only 53,000 copies, Leyenda Viva and Blackballed flopped, and he's been ostracized by the music industry. No Kid Hungary rejected his $200,000 donation, and despite pivoting to the Latin market, he lost all traction in the US. The public mocked him with viral memes, branding him a traitor, and deadbeat dad scandals piled up from inappropriate behavior with Sarah Melina Yalin causing airport disturbances, faking his death for views to attacking fans, further tanking his image. Sarah Melina Marina and Ross Verd publicly criticized him for neglecting his children in a letter to the judge. He admitted, "I was reckless and foolish," a fan once wrote. 6ix9ine may have talent, but he betrayed his crew, abandoned his kids, and lived a fake life. He doesn't deserve forgiveness. Snitching on 9 tax evasion, neglecting Soraya and Briella, and flaunting fake lifestyle cost him all respect in the hip-hop community. Talent. Spotlight dims and the cheers fade. What defines you isn't the $1 million contracts you signed or the hits you made. It's how you lived, the values you held, and the people still by your side when the glamour is gone. Looking at 6ix9ine today, those lessons become clearer than ever. His journey is a cautionary tale about the cost of fame without ethics or responsibility. He lost the respect of millions who once adored his unique style and explosive energy. "I missed the early days watching." So, when he was just a quirky guy with colored hair, a fan wrote on YouTube reminiscing about a time before 6ix9ine was tainted by scandals. But his handling of criticism, from downplaying crimes to flaunting betrayal, turned even his most loyal fans away despite attempts to sustain his career with releases like Leyenda Viva and Blackballed. 6ix9ine couldn't recapture his former glory. Leyenda failed to chart, and his social media posts now attract only a fraction of the audience from peak. He can keep making music, but no one will take him seriously anymore. A Reddit user wrote, summing up the harsh reality. Repeated arrests from domestic violence allegations in the Dominican Republic to probation violations only solidified. Image as irredeemable 6ix9ine may still try to appear on Instagram or TikTok, but he'll never regain the loving community and unwavering trust he once had. Questions about his behavior and ethics will forever haunt his legacy, turning a once dazzling star into a symbol of failure and betrayal. He had everything but destroyed it all himself, a comment on X concluded. And perhaps that's the most painful lesson this story leaves behind.